Hello, welcome to the Great White edition of Patio Time with Patrick, but I guess it's Patrick's today because I am joined with Patrick Ramsahoye, another member of Out of the Basement. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and how are you doing?
Not too bad. I got the back bacon going. We got some stubby beers. Cheers. It's in the good old traditions of Canada wintertime. We're actually outside. There's some snow here. Although it's January, it's +5. It's a bit different. So how are things going with you, Patrick?
Things
Cheers.
are going well. Thank you.
Now, you haven't been doing too much with Out of the Basement lately, though, unfortunately.
I wrote an article on that was supposed to go on our blog page and ended up on our Facebook page instead.
Yeah, I saw that because you saw the Star Wars.
Yep.
And everyone's been talking about that. So, now you came to Canada when you were 18.
Yes.
So, but that's still a good time, even though you didn't get to see too many TV shows, or young TV shows. You got to see a fair amount of, shows afterwards.
Yeah.
And did you ever get into Second City?
A little bit. Once I moved here, it was certainly big in the States when I was living down there.
Yeah.
Right. Saturday night was typically SNL, followed up by Second City.
Right, yes. Yeah. Pause there for... sorry, we'll continue for... So Saturday Night Live, yeah, I remember that, but there's a fair amount of Canadian guy in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lorne Michaels, of
Yep.
course, who is the big creative mind behind Saturday Night Live, is Canadian, right?
Yep.
So, there was also a lot of flow from Second City into Saturday Night Live.
Oh, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And, Mike Myers as well, Canadian later on, went in there. I just remember there was a fair movies that made fun of that as well. It was Canadian Bacon or the other one where they're talking to all these Canadian comics and movie stars, and they're trying to pretend that we don't control Hollywood, but actually we really do. Because I remember one joke was the green card, Lorne Green. Think it's a coincidence?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that movie? Or did you see
Canadian Bacon was
the John Candy one
Candy
where
Buffalo.
Yes, where they're going to invade Canada to stop us from taking them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, so that had Alan Alda, I think, is like the vice president or secretary of defense.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
that.
So it was fun because it was making fun of a lot of the war movies and stuff like that have been going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear, but the back bacon's going now, so I'm just gonna get that set up there. So definitely this is the homage to Rick Moranis and Dave Flattery for the Great White North. They had a Did they have to do a movie about them as well?
Yeah. Was it Fast Brew?
Fast Brew, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also a record album made with Geddy Lee from Geddy Lee from Rush was in it.
Well, he sang the theme. That also has the famous Bob and Doug 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
For the Christmas portion of their album.
Yeah. And actually, that became famous. Bob and Doug took a lot of stuff to the U.S. like Take Off, Great White North, Hoser.
Yep. Well, I was in high school when their show or their skit was really popular. So all my high school friends knew that I was Canadian, who just happened to be living in the States, and so they'd always be talking about Bob and Doug.
Yeah, exactly.
Never failed. Monday morning, there was the discussion of the Bob and Doug sketch.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, they were quite famous for a while, and that's what, I guess, really got them into the U.S. for later on in the movies, Rick Moranis and after the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Canada's been a law involved, it's what's called Hollywood North for a reason, because you got Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver,
right,
where a lot of stuff is filmed.
Yes.
And your brother was involved with IMAX as well in Toronto.
He was their sound guy.
Yes, and now there's a few Canadian TV shows. Like one of the big ones that made it big was Forever Night, about a vampire who's masquerading as a police officer.
No, he wasn't masquerading as a police officer. He was a police officer.
So okay, yeah, his latest.
He could only work the night shift.
Work night shift, yes.
He couldn't handle the day.
But he'd been around long enough, and this was his new sort of thing he was doing. Was that, and then it lasted a fair amount of seasons too, which was interesting.
Yeah, it was also one of the first shows that made it internationally that wasn't afraid to be in Canada.
No.
It shamelessly took place in Toronto.
Oh yes, and it was very obvious from the skyline and all that it was Toronto.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of other movies which are filmed in Toronto,
But try to pretend to be someone
try to pretend by someone else.
Yeah.
I mean,
or pretend to be nowhere in particular.
Yes, exactly, just some city.
Yeah.
Although anyone who's been in Toronto would go, hey, I recognize that skyline in that.
Yeah.
Now, admittedly, with computer CGI being much better, they can replace the skyline if they need to.
Yeah.
You can hear the back, they can see it going there.
Yeah. Don't even necessarily even need to. Well, I mean, nowadays they can you can film outdoors and put the scene.
Put anything you want to. Yeah, exactly. Just as long as you. Now, I mean, getting to the point, probably wouldn't have to film outdoors anymore, but a lot of actors still like the idea of having a scenery around them.
It's a lot easier to act when you're actually in the environment than when you're just trying to pretend. If they need to, they can, but it's still better to be there. That's why even when they're using CG for monsters or something like that, they'll have somebody standing there with a tennis ball saying this is where the guy's face is, so that the actor at least knows where to look.
Now, X-Files was also filmed in Vancouver for pretty much, after it moved there. It didn't start there, but it moved there.
Yeah, and it stayed there for a long time until the company just got tired of the commute and insisted that they move back to Los Angeles. And that was pretty much starting the end of the run, too. And now the thing is, a lot of people, actually, actors in Canada, got starts in TV shows from there because, they're in the area. You want to be an extra, and then I think the Lone Man or the Lone Gunman was like that. They started as sort of an extra couple here and there, and then became well known and actually got their own series. Yeah, their own TV show, and they predicted 9/11 and all that too.
Mm-hmm. And then in X-Files, they just killed them off quickly like that.
Yes,
which is rather interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you didn't get to see Friendly Giant, which is, of course,
I did see Friendly Giant. Well, growing up, I still spent the summers here because my grandparents lived just in Carleton Place.
Oh, that's true, yes.
And so, Friendly Giant, Mr. Dress Up, got to watch all of those.
Yeah.
Even saw the Canadian version of Sesame Street.
Oh, what was that one again? It was...
Well, it's just regular Sesame Street, but they would throw in, instead of having the American Spanish language,
they'd have the French. Yes. Now, and for comic books, I'm not too familiar with because I was a Marvel, mostly DC guy. Yeah. So Alpha Flight
that's Marvel.
Yes, that's Marvel, but it was set in Canada.
Yes. Well, it was the Canadian team. On Department H, which was introduced with Wolverine.
Yes. And there was Guardian, Sasquatch, Shaman, and the Snowbird, and the two twins, Northstar and Aurora. Yeah. And like I said, it took place mostly in Canada.
Yeah.
A American version of Canada.
Well,
where it's
John Byrne, who is Canadian, was the creative mind behind it for the first 12 issues, I think.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
So that stayed fairly Canadian, and then after he left, that's when the American version of Canada started.
And Superman himself was started by one of them was from Canada, was from Toronto.
Yeah.
And
but Superman wasn't actually created until he moved down to the States.
That's true. I know, but
he was created before that, but he didn't get published.
They get published into there, and then he became the true American icon.
Yes.
But that's interesting because one of the true American icons that they have was created by a Canadian.
Yes. Well, just like basketball.
That's true.
Probably the second most American game is a Canadian inventor as well.
And I know Canada has also a fair amount of high-tech companies that work with CGI and animation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And actually, our friend John and Simus is actually his company has won an Emmy.
Yeah.
For their work. And so there's been a lot of Canadian stuff, and there's just too much. I'm going to put some stuff on links and stuff like that because there's just too much that I don't know and you don't know either.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, like I said, John Byrne, you said, it's Canadian.
Yeah.
And he actually worked on Superman as well. On one of the reboots after the death of Superman.
Yeah.
One of the deaths of Superman. I guess there's been many after this point in time.
It's comic books nowadays. If a character hasn't died, they're not really a hit character.
A hit character anymore, yeah. They got to shake things up. And now, there are some Canadian authors, and Charles DeLint is a big one.
Even an Ottawa author.
An Ottawa author, and does a lot of fantasy. I haven't read anything from his for a while, so I don't know if he's still
I don't know. I aside from a few things, I'm really not big into fantasy. So while I know about him, I have never read any of his stuff.
Yes. But I read some of his stuff. I've never actually got to meet him. But I know there's a big community in Ottawa for that.
Yeah.
And there's actually a big community for TV and stuff like that in Ottawa.
Yeah.
I had an interview with Mesa, who has her own movie coming out soon. Well, a short.
Okay.
On that, so.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
A good way to
so that'd be doing well. So, what are your plans for Out of the Basement for coming up? There, so you're going to be coming back onto the fold with us?
Well, as much as I can. I mean, life does happen, and
yes.
I can only do so much. And you guys have a tendency to do things when I'm not available.
I know. Well, that's sort of the things. Like, we're going to try and schedule more stuff like that.
Actually, if we had a better schedule or a
more set schedule, yes, that's what I'm planning to do this year. But Paul's also another bad one for that. So definitely I'll be getting things going, and we're, like I said, with the YouTube stuff, we're starting to get more and more, and I'm hoping to have some more. There's actually in Ottawa, well, there's a fair amount of actors in Ottawa, but there's one of them is I can't remember his name offhand. I'll have a link up there later on, but he was in Cowboys and Indians. He was one of the natives in that movie.
Okay.
And he was also Slipknot in Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And but unfortunately, his part got severely cut down. And I mean, I feel bad for the actor, because basically that character was only there just to exposition for, yes, this is what happens when you try and run away.
Yeah.
He had nothing else. There's no development, nothing to him. Just, yeah, you hear his exposition.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, he's dead. Oh, well, move on.
Well, it's not like Suicide Squad is a paragon of movies anyhow.
No, that's just it. And they're I don't. Oops, that went over. I'll have that one. Oh, I don't know if they're planning to do a second one or
good for the cat.
second one or not. We'll see.
Yeah.
But and like I said, Wolverine is actually. Well, I was going to say for comics, Wolverine is, I would say, the biggest Canadian hero there.
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds now is the Canadian in Deadpool. It's great, but for characters, it's actually Wolverine. It's huge.
Yep. Yeah, it always has been.
I don't think there's too many. Can't offhand remember any DC Canadian heroes.
I've never been big into DC, so I couldn't say for sure. Maybe Dwayne, when he's watching this, will be able to
Dwayne, when he's watching this live comments, we can check as well. But yeah, that's what I was realizing, is like Canada has had a big influence on movies, TV, animation, books and everything.
Yeah.
So that's why I was doing this homage to the Mackenzie brothers, because they made it big as well.
Yep.
But yeah, it's time to Canada recognize we have a big influence down there.
Oh, absolutely, which is why it's so funny that there's such a small industry here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has a lot to do with the Canadian ego.
It does.
We don't have a lot of self-confidence in our own ability.
Well, it's also they get paid better down there, so you actually can't blame them.
Well, yeah, okay, but let's look at Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a huge film and television industry, and they're really not much bigger than we are.
No.
If they're able to succeed, then we should be able to as well.
Exactly. Help yourself to some back bacon if you want to.
Okay.
Thank you. But that's true. And, well, also, like, Cagney and Lacey, their captain.
Okay.
Canadian.
Okay.
King Kensington.
Yeah, you don't have to look very far to be able to find a Canadian in any aspect of Hollywood.
No.
Either in front of the street or behind the street.
Yeah. And, like, I know we like to take credit for some people, like, Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he spent time in Canada. I mean, he likes Canada. He lives here now.
Yep. Well, he's also an Ottawa boy.
He's an Ottawa boy. And that's another one that a big influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so overall, like I said, there's just Reboot is another one.
Also from Ottawa, too.
From Ottawa as well, yeah, and that was a big one. And they're actually talking about a reboot. Mm-hmm. I guess it'd be Reboot.
They've been talking about that for a while, though.
Yeah. I guess it would be Reboot Squared, would it?
I don't know. Yeah, why not?
Reboot Prime? I don't know.
But I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Why not? So, like I said, you saw Star Wars. You put your blog up.
Uh-huh.
And have you been seeing the backlash people are talking about for the...
Oh, yeah.
And it makes no sense to me.
Well, yeah, it does make some sense to me, and that's because Star Wars has become just... It's become like everybody's intellectual property, right? And we sort of saw that happening with the prequels as well. Whether you like them or not, the main reason why there was a lot of backlash was just they weren't what people were thinking that it should be.
Exactly. You gave us a story, but we took it upon and made it our world, our universe.
That's right. Like all the expanded universe stuff, which had George Lucas's stamp of approval on it. But, I mean, how serious was that stamp? Was he actually looking it over and saying, oh, yeah, that really fits in with the big plan?
No,
or
exactly.
Was he just like, this is a pretty good story. It's not disparaging anything that's already been done, so, yeah, go ahead.
Exactly.
And make us more money.
Well, yeah, and then when Disney took over, like, okay, that is non-canon. It's only the movies and stuff we will now put out is now canon.
Yeah. You saw what the big reason behind that was?
No.
Chewbacca got killed in one of the expanded universe
novels. That's true, yes.
That's
one of the ones
because he doesn't work very well in a novel, but on screen he works really well.
Yes.
And they wanted to keep him in the movies.
Oh, okay, so they just said, well, let's just make it easier and like nothing is... Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just realized science fiction, Star Trek. William Shatner. Montreal Boy.
Yep.
You know? And then, of course, T.J. Hooker, and then he did his own novels.
Yep.
And then he actually did a novel where Kirk lived after...
And Scotty.
Scotty, yeah.
Also Canadian and war hero.
That's true. That's true. And, so, yeah, I forgot that Montgomery was a Canadian.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's true. Served World War II with the British, didn't he? Or was he Canadian?
It would have been with the Canadian troops.
Yeah. And so, I was going to say, I lose my train of thought here. Starting to feel a little bit of a chill, but... So, if we were planning more doing stuff like this, would you be involved in being a co-host and stuff like that?
Sure.
Okay. You have to check and see if there's anyone you know who'd be willing to do an interview. And unfortunately, sorry for your brother's passing again.
Oh, thank you.
And because he would have been a great one to have. I realized because he knows a lot of the...
Well, he knows a lot of what's going on, and I was getting inside scoops.
Exactly. Because he was the top guy, top sound guy at IMAX, wasn't he?
He was in charge of the sound department.
Which
so he wouldn't be doing sound for all the movies, but he'd be doing the quality control on the sound. So the movie studio would actually be doing the sound for the film, but he'd be making sure that the sound was meeting IMAX quality and stuff.
That's still impressive.
It's still impressive. Yeah. And it also gave him an opportunity to see all these films well before they came out. So yes, I was getting the scoop on whether or not it was a worthwhile film to watch.
IMAX or not. It's like, yeah, you don't have to see it. Wait for it through 2D or whatever.
Well, not even that. It was just, is it a good film or is it a bad film?
Yeah. And now, I'm not sure of anything that's coming up for Canada-wise movie-related, because I'm just not a big... I'm starting to get into it. I want to get more into that sort of thing, but right now I'm not, and I'm sure you weren't either with that.
Well, there's actually been a lot of good Canadian content, especially genre-wise, like Killjoys, which has been out for a couple of years, is Canadian.
Oh, really? Okay,
and,
I didn't know that.
So it was Dark Matter.
Okay. Dark Matter, yes, that's true. Yeah. And Killjoys, I know they're thinking about taking it into a movie for a bit.
Oh, maybe.
But as a TV show, it works quite well.
Yep.
And that's the ladies from DC, right? Is that it's not?
No, it's not DC. It's its own thing. It was the Sci-Fi Channel, I think, that was doing it. It was a joint effort between Sci-Fi and Space.
Right. Yeah, and Space has done a few ones as well. There's Borealis, which takes place up in, near the Arctic, but it's in Canadian space. But it's in the future, and the Russians are there, and all other countries, because that's one of the last few places, I guess, where there's energy and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they're trying to discover, I don't know, power sources. I've only seen a couple of shows. It looked interesting, though, because basically it's like a Canadian guy in charge. Like, this is Canada's sovereign land.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Russia, like, we don't recognize that.
Yeah.
Well, it is. Too bad. And comics, like I said, I'm not too sure with the... because I've been out of touch with comics for so long now.
Yeah, I stopped collecting in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I mean...
Basically, when you were going over $1 for each issue, that's about when I started.
And now they're $4 or $5 or more for some of them. So
yeah, but they're also more direct to specialty shops. Right? Whereas when I was stopping,
Max or the 7-Eleven would have them as well.
Yeah.
And whereas you don't see those anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
unless it's Archie Comics.
Archie Comics, yes, which has been around forever.
Uh-huh.
And
actually, I was reading a little while ago that I think it's Marvel is wanting to work a deal with Archie Comics because Archie never left that small store or corner store distribution,
right.
grocery store distribution, and it's one of the major companies, either Marvel or DC, wanting to get back
probably Marvel, because there already has been a Marvel and Riverdale Archie tie-in.
Yeah.
With the Punisher.
Okay.
Punisher goes to their school as undercover teacher.
Yeah.
You're come on. Well, two genres that really don't work well together would be Archie and the Punisher.
Well, Archie Comics has been doing an awful lot of pushing the boundaries.
Well, especially the different line where they're trying to be a little bit more adult oriented and stuff like that.
Which is, I think, what the Riverdale TV series is more based on. Because there's not a lot of humor in that.
Well, there's also I don't see it being connected too much with Archie, period.
Well, the characters are the same. And
some
of the dynamics are the same.
The characters aren't the same. Archie is a football player.
Yeah. Well, he was still a sportsman.
Yeah, he wasn't the quarterback of the team.
No.
And that's where he is.
Yeah.
He's also super buff. And Mrs. O'Grady's a hot 20-some-year-old teacher.
Yes.
That he's banging.
Well, was.
Yeah, but still.
For the first half of the first season.
Yes, but still. Sorry, I just thought, because my brain works in different ways. Also, a friend of ours, we haven't talked to for a while, Paul Gilligan, is actually a big, comic strip.
He's a comic strip artist. Does
Push Cafe. Yep.
And also
another one
that he's doing with Corey Merritt.
Yes.
Oh, and I read it every day, and I can't
remember
what the title of it is.
Oh, okay. I don't read it.
It had sort of taken a bit of a hiatus. There was this one point where it stopped, and they've actually started up again. So what the publisher did was restart it, at least online, from the beginning, and then now we're getting into new issues.
Oh, okay.
Or new episodes. So
but it's definitely
kind of doing a Wizard of Oz sort of theme.
Oh, really? Okay, I have to check that out then. Because like I said, I've known Push Cafe for a long time, and we've known Paul for. Well, haven't talked to him really, but we've known him for quite a long time.
Well, since the
80s.
The 80s, yeah. Late 80s.
Yeah, because he did some of our... he gamed with us, and he did some art for us.
He and I took a writing workshop at Carleton together. That's how we met. And that's how I introduced him to Darby.
Yes, we're getting a group from that. And now, for role-playing wise, I don't know of any purely Canadian-only, that was developed in Canada, role-playing games. Can you think of any offhand?
Not offhand, but there's got to be some.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're out there. There's certainly enough Canadians that are interested in role-playing games to be putting in.
Oh, I'm sure they had probably some smaller press ones in that.
Yeah.
And definitely, I know Trivial Pursuit was the big one for Canada.
As far as games go, yeah.
Yes.
That gave a resurgence to the board games in general.
Yes.
For a little while, I think there's been a new board game renaissance recently.
Yes.
With things like Settlers of Catan and so on.
But you're right. Trivial Pursuit got a push board games again into being. Oh, that's fun. It's just
it
changed.
Made the cocktail party board game into took it away from Monopoly.
Yes.
And gave it to all those sorts of other kinds of games.
Yeah. So you got anything on the go for yourself? For you're doing your D&D campaign.
Yeah.
Anything else on the go for writing wise, or?
Oh, there are some stories that I've been researching forever and using research as an excuse to not actually start writing anymore.
Yes, I hear you on that one. You should try and get something done this year, though. That should be your goal for the year: is have something out. And if I'm gonna put a couple stories out there as well this year. But I'm not gonna try and sell them. I'm just gonna put them up on the Facebook page and stuff like that, just to let people know what's done.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to talk about, sir? We can ramble on for hours of movies and stuff like that, because upcoming, here's the big one, Black Panther.
Black Panther's coming up. Yeah, that should be good.
And I saw Black Lightning.
Yes.
The one episode on
Netflix.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Netflix in Canada, in the States, it's on the CW. Same thing as Riverdale.
Right, yes, which is why there's only one episode.
Yes.
Because even though it's Netflix,
it's being released as it's released in the States.
Exactly. So that's where it's like, oh, darn it, it's only one episode. Like, oh yeah, because it just started.
Broadcast.
I liked it.
I thought it was really good too.
Yeah.
yeah, like it didn't go into an origin story at all.
It's here he
he's
is.
actually he had been the hero. He's retired while his kids have grown up, and now he's sort of being forced back into it again.
But I like that because there wasn't no origin story. It's like this is the guy.
Yeah. How did he do what he did?
It's not there. It's like he has lightning powers. Here we go.
Yeah, and we also, through some very good exposition, we know that he initially got into the hero business to avenge his father,
right?
And
but actually, also because of the background TV shows and the exposition in there, you realize he's in. I'm not sure if he's officially in the DC TV universe or not.
Well, in the Arrowverse, he's the show's being done by the Arrowverse people, and I think his character is loosely connected into it. But I don't think we're going to be seeing him involved in any of the crossovers like we've been seeing.
But because in the background they're talking about how other cities have superheroes.
Yeah.
And there is also like a good social commentary going on in the background.
Yeah.
He gets stopped by the cops because a corner store got robbed.
Yeah.
A liquor store got robbed.
Yeah.
And like, was the guy wearing a suit driving an SUV with the kids? So that was interesting. Like I like how they're making it in modern times, and there is a proper one. It's not over the hitting your head with it, but it's there.
Yep.
And also the fact that other cities have superheroes and they're considered superheroes, but Black Lightning is considered a vigilante. Is it?
Well, if we're talking the Arrowverse, really Flash is the only.
Well, exactly. Green Arrow also was considered a vigilante as well. But I did like it. Like it was just in the background, not being up front in your face.
Yep.
And again, here's a full origin story again. It's like, no, it's not important to the story.
Yeah.
You
just need to know that he was once.
Yeah.
That he got the shit kicked out of him in his last mission.
Yeah, well, shot badly.
Yeah. And that of course, made him decide that retirement is the best way to go.
Exactly. And now, years later, he's being pushed into it again.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm looking forward to the next few shows.
Yep.
And definitely looking forward to Black Panther. Now, again, I liked him in the Marvel universe because Marvel, a lot of comics in the 70s, 60s, and 70s weren't the best for diversity or that. And, I liked Falcon. I've always Falcon, but I didn't like his backstory where he was, again, a gangster hood guy.
Yep. Just like Luke Cage.
Just like Luke Cage. Luke Cage I didn't mind because it was like, okay, he was a prisoner who got experimented on. I could live with, one guy's fine, but then they did the exact same thing with Falcon. It's like, okay, there's other types of other things, which is why, like, in the new one, he's a war veteran, he's out there, he's doing well, and, he's his own person.
Yeah.
And that I like. And even the revamping of Luke Cage was well done.
Yep.
It's like, yes, he's still a prisoner, but he's not just, gangster guy.
Yeah.
He, again, got stuck up in situations and that. So.
Actually, I really liked the Luke Cage Netflix show.
Yes.
Especially Cottonmouth. He was a very intriguing and excellent villain.
Yes.
Very well done. And, after he dies, that's when the show started getting very formula.
Yes, exactly. Because he was... Well, I also like his sister, the mama, who's... Yeah. Like, they're not the standard supervillain type of like, we have these powers, all this. It's like, no, we're more like the lines of, I was gonna say Lex Luthor, but it's like, it's our intelligence and our money and our power that make us evil.
Yeah.
Make us
give them their power
to
be doing evil. Yeah.
But like I said, Black Panther was interesting because he's a king of his own nation, and he's also very smart. Like he's up there with Reed Richards and Tony Stark and Henry Pym. For intelligence.
Yeah.
And so he knows tactics, he's very smart, he's rich.
Yep.
And so it's basically,
Yeah, he's not coming from the bottom and working his way up.
He started off there and he's already defending his country. I actually liked him better than Iron Man most of the time. Because Iron Man I never... until they got into the whole... alcohol sort of thing and those were good storylines, and the Extremists as ones as well. But overall, I thought Tony Stark was just like, he's in it just to have fun.
Yeah, he's also always been a Cold War soldier more than anything else.
Exactly. Whereas Black Panther, he always was a soldier who was defending his country.
Yeah.
Like, he always had that ingrained in him. This is why I'm doing it. Tony Stark's like, well, I feel guilty because some of my weapons have killed people. Well, you could have donated a lot to charity and doctors and stuff like that.
Well, that whole I'm wealthy and I'm using it to be a superhero shtick really rings hollow. Like, you know, I mean, Batman, his, you know, Bruce Wayne's story, it's like, how many people have lived what he's gone through, and they haven't gone.
Well,
you know, they haven't even done. I want to become a cop to try and stop
exactly.
this.
It's also like how much money you could have had free university, free healthcare, and free everything in Gotham.
Yeah,
like, you know, the money that you spent on your cool kit and stuff, you could have had everyone getting free education, free healthcare.
Yeah,
like,
that would have been fighting a lot of crime.
That'd fight a lot of crime.
More than Batman.
Well, exactly, because I was like, okay, you know what? Everyone's guaranteed a minimum, you know, X amount of money, no welfare, no nothing. Everyone's gonna have some money.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, people have jobs, people have, you know, healthcare. They're not a lot less worried about how to get, you know, take care of their sick grandma.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, same as Tony Stark. Same thing. It's like, okay, so you built these suits, but how much could you have done by, you know, giving that to charity or other stuff to, you know, get free power?
Cheap education for the underprivileged.
Yeah. I mean, they sort of do that in Iron Man 3 a bit. I think it is where he's like, okay, everyone's now getting free, all of your universities paid for.
Yeah.
And, you know, the...
wasn't that the start of...
2? Or
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Probably might have been Age of Ultron.
Or no, it was Civil War.
Civil War, yes, exactly. Sorry, yes, they lose track after a while.
Yeah.
But he's giving them all free university, which is nice. It is a good thing. And the fact that, okay, Stark Tower is on its own power source.
Yep.
But why couldn't you have done that everywhere?
Well, yeah, it'd be damaging to the economy.
Yes, and that's it. Which was actually interesting because in Watchmen, Ozymandias, he was developing in the comics. The reason a lot of industrialists didn't like him because he was going to give free power to everybody.
Yeah,
and you know they actually had Leo Iacocca in the comic. Yeah, was going, "Oh, I don't like this." Like, well, too bad.
Yeah,
like I'm doing it not for making money. I'm doing it to help everybody.
Yeah,
you know, so. Even though it's weird, he was ended up being a super villain, but he was trying to like help everybody. Like that was his main goals. I'm saving everybody. Period.
Well, he was a hero in his own mind right to the end.
Well, yes. Well, in the end, wasn't he sort of still a hero? He stopped World War III.
Yep.
He stopped wars for a short amount of time.
Until Rorschach's journal got found.
Yes. In that. Well, although Watchmen to me is still one of the better ways it ended. Oh, we have to stop you from doing this. Stop me. I did it 20 minutes ago. I'm explaining what I did. I'm not monologuing here, and there's a button that you can press to stop it. It's already done.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Yeah. I'm
not an idiot. You know. Yeah. So that part to me, especially in the comics as well, was one of the best ones. Where it's like, I'm a super smart villain. Why would I talk to you and give you a chance to stop me?
Well, yeah, but the whole idea behind Watchmen was really to deconstruct.
Yes, well, exactly, and it did really well.
Yeah,
and it's just unfortunate they didn't get a chance to use some of the DC heroes. They
It's probably better because it wasn't.
Yes, because too many people, even though Blue Beetle and The Question and that weren't big at the time, it probably would have upset a lot of fans of like, how dare The Question turn into that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Because people go, Rorschach's a great superhero. No, he's basically a thug. Well, sorry, and so is a comedian. They're basically their own versions of why vigilantism and superheroes wouldn't actually work in the real world.
Yeah.
Because you would get people who are like, oh, he's bad, I'm going to hurt him. Well, what gives you the right to do that?
Yeah.
What makes you decide what's right or wrong?
Yeah.
And so that's where it's like, it's nice to look at comic books and go, oh, it's cool to have someone who can do that. But in real life, I wouldn't want someone going around in tights with powers doing that.
No.
Because it's like, well, what if I'm stuck in the wrong place or something happens here?
Yeah.
And collateral damage.
Yeah.
And so that was always a thing. Is like, well, and now modern comic book movies take it super crazy of the amount of collateral damage that's done.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you're dealing with that kind of a power level, it makes sense that...
Right, but they don't actually talk about the real damage that's being done. Like, you're seeing buildings being destroyed, but you're like, okay, there's actually people still in there.
Yeah.
And it's daytime.
Uh-huh.
Like,
well, Civil War really touched on that.
Not really. They touched on it a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's the whole idea behind the Sokovia Accords and why...
Right, but yeah. They did more on it than they did in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Which was sort of the start of, like, very badly written of why there's a challenge between the two.
Yeah. Well, there's all sorts of reasons why Batman vs. Superman...
It could have been good, though. I mean, the idea that Superman helped destroy the Topless, and Batman's like, we've got to stop him because he is just too powerful.
Yeah, but they didn't really get either character right.
No.
Especially Batman. I mean, before he's the kick-ass ninja in a batsuit, he's the world's greatest detective.
Well, they did do that in Batman vs. Superman. He was doing detective stuff. He was helping, but except that somehow Lex Luthor was a better detective than he was and figured out who they were.
Yeah, there's that. There's also that Batman was so single-mindedly, this guy hasn't done anything bad, but he's got so much potential to do it that we have to do something.
I have a bad dream. Yeah, that was that was so bad on so many levels.
Yeah.
Although I did like the Ben Affleck's portrayal of a bitter Batman.
A bitter aged Batman.
Yeah, exactly. That part was fine, but it's the rest that went along with it. Yeah. Now, they were saying they're going to come up with an Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Submariner has been around longer.
Yeah. He's a contemporary of Captain America.
Yeah, exactly, and the original Human Torch.
Yep.
It just somehow he never caught on big.
Well, because Namor is something of an asshole.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
But it's funny because everyone Aquaman was a butt of jokes for decades. Because
pretty much until Jason Momoa decided to portray him.
Well, even in the comics, they sort of modernized him a bit. They had his hand cut off.
But even so, he was still being the butt of jokes.
Yes. And especially the costume, the orange and yellow and green, and that's like, okay, dude, yeah, you're in the ocean,
Well, no, there's a lot of fish that look that way.
Yeah.
So, as far as fishy colors go, it's appropriate.
But it's, like I said, because Submariner's been around longer, he is a bit of an asshole, so that's why I guess he never took off.
Yeah.
As popular as
Aquaman. I mean, you can see him being portrayed as a villain as often as you see him being portrayed as a hero.
And Aquaman was also in the Justice League. Yeah. Which helps,
Yeah. But, so are the Wonder Twins.
Yeah. So is Batman.
Yeah.
and everyone's like, well, he was just a great detective. Yeah, but it's The Flash, Wonder Woman, and Superman, and Martian Manhunter. They don't need... Diana's a princess who's also trained in warfare.
Yeah.
Superman's extremely smart. Martian Manhunter is another one who's been a cop but also knows tactics.
Yeah.
And Flash, well, he just runs really fast.
Yeah.
So why do we need him? Okay, him being on the team and being the tactician in the background.
Yeah.
As in the comics, they had Barbara Gordon
as Oracle.
That Batman being in the background, telling him what to do and figure things out, I'd have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Actually, going with him to the fights is sort of like, okay.
But you have to admit that in a stand-up fight, if it came down to a point where they all go after each other or something like that, I'm pretty sure Batman will be the last one standing.
Well, if he's got the time to plan for it and all that.
Yes.
There is that where
he's also being portrayed nowadays as somebody who's always prepared to plan for the worst.
Well, yes, they had that in comics and in one of the animated movies where he had contingency plans.
Yeah.
To stop every single hero.
Yeah. It's not that he's planning to use it right now, but 2 years ago, he figured out a plan and he's got it in place.
Yes.
He just needs to activate it if he needs to.
Exactly. But again, going into hand-to-hand combat against parademons or some of the other stuff, it's like, why is Batman there? Like, I mean, yeah, he's well-trained in martial arts, but then again, the same thing with the Avengers, right? Okay, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, because he's with the shield and the super training, Black Panther, Vision, yeah, Hawkeye, and Black Widow.
I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow.
I know that,
but I'm still going out there.
Yeah, but
you need to make a decision.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you got a bow and arrow. I mean, you got some trick arrows, but really, you're just a guy with bow and arrows.
Yeah,
you got Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America the Tactician, and the shield. Fine, but You guys are just highly trained agents.
Yep.
I'm nothing against them. They are super highly trained.
Yep.
But...
Well, I mean, it's like Black Widow. When she started, she was never in the fight. She was just manipulating everything to get her agenda
done.
Set, right?
Yeah.
So she doesn't necessarily have to be I'm in the thick of it.
No, exactly.
Crap out of things. It's nice to see that she's doing that.
Yes.
But that's not really how the character started.
No. So, all right. Well, I think that's we're gonna wrap up here. We got some beer to finish and back bacon. So, thank you, everyone. I'm going to be editing this out and putting it up very soon, hopefully. And so, hopefully, this will be up before we go see Black Panther.
It's only about 3 weeks away or so.
Well, it should be.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.